the worst match of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar that we wish we had never seen. WWE has always thrived on legendary rivalries that define generations and create unforgettable moments. Among the most iconic feuds in modern wrestling history is the intense and long-standing rivalry between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. While their battles have given fans some of the most thrilling matches in WWE history, one particular showdown at WrestleMania remains a chapter many wish had never happened. Brock Lesnar, known as the Beast Incarnate, played a crucial role in shaping Roman Reigns' journey to superstardom. Their feud began ahead of WrestleMania 31, when Reigns, still proving himself as a top-tier competitor, earned the opportunity to face Lesnar for the WWE Championship. That match, filled with hard-hitting action and unexpected twists, became an instant classic, especially with Seth Rollins' shocking Money in the Bank cash-in that altered the course of history. 3 years later, WWE reignited the rivalry between these two powerhouses, setting the stage for another high-stakes collision at WrestleMania 34. However, instead of delivering another instant classic, their rematch turned into a widely criticized disaster, disappointing fans and critics alike. In early 2018, Roman Reigns outlasted 5 other top WWE superstars in an Elimination Chamber match to earn the right to challenge Lesnar for the WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. With Reigns positioned as the top babyface of the company, the stage was set for what should have been a defining moment in his career. However, the WrestleMania 34 main event failed to meet expectations. From the outset, the match was marred by repetitive moves, lack of storytelling, and an audience that quickly lost interest. Fans in attendance openly voiced their displeasure, chanting their frustration throughout the bout. The excessive use of finishers with multiple F5S and spears dominating the match made it feel uninspired rather than compelling. The biggest shock of the night came when Brock Lesnar, against all expectations, retained the Universal Championship. Many had anticipated a coronation for Reigns, who was being built as the company's next face. Instead, Lesnar's victory left fans confused and unsatisfied, as WWE seemingly prolonged Reigns' ascension without a clear direction. The aftermath of the match saw a continued backlash, with fans criticizing WWE's booking decisions and lack of engagement in storytelling. Even though Roman Reigns eventually defeated Lesnar for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam 2018, the damage had already been done to their feud's credibility. While Reigns and Lesnar would go on to have more matches, including an intense showdown at WrestleMania 38 that unified WWE's top titles, their WrestleMania 34 encounter remains a low point in their storied rivalry. For many, it was a moment that should have been a crowning achievement for Reigns, but instead turned into one of the most forgettable main events in WrestleMania history. Despite that setback, both men have continued to cement their legacies, with Reigns now holding one of the longest world championship reigns in modern WWE history, and Lesnar maintaining his reputation as a dominant force. Their rivalry, while filled with memorable moments, will always have the unfortunate blemish of WrestleMania 34, a match that fans and WWE alike wish had been booked different. At WrestleMania 34, WWE was heavily promoting Roman Reigns as the ultimate underdog, a resilient babyface overcoming obstacles to reach the top. However, the company faced significant backlash in the audience, who were vocal in their rejection of Reigns as the chosen one. Despite WWE's attempt to push him as a valiant hero, the fans saw things differently and expressed their frustration in no uncertain terms. Throughout the build-up to WrestleMania 34, Reigns was booked as a defiant challenger to Brock Lesnar's dominant reign as Universal Champion. WWE storytelling positioned him as the man who would finally dethrone Lesnar, emphasizing his struggles and hardships. Unfortunately, instead of garnering sympathy and support, this approach alienated a large portion of the audience. Week after week, crowds responded with resounding boos, making it clear that Reigns was not the hero they wanted. This negative sentiment carried over to the go-home episodes of Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. Fans openly voiced their displeasure, rejecting the narrative WWE was pushing. Many were frustrated by the predictability of the main event, assuming that Reigns would inevitably be crowned champion. The sentiment that WWE was forcing Reigns into the spotlight against the audience's wishes only fueled the hostility. By the time the grand event arrived, it was evident that the fans were not on board with the story WWE was telling. The hostility reached its peak at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, where the main event of WrestleMania 34 saw Brock Lesnar defend his Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. From the moment the match began, it was clear that the crowd had little interest in what was unfolding in the ring. Rather than engaging with the match, the audience entertained themselves in various ways, chanting the names of other WWE superstars, and even expressing their disapproval with loud, "This is awful" chants. It became evident that the fans were rejecting not just Roman Reigns, but also the entire match. Unlike previous WrestleMania main events, which had the crowd on the edge of their seats, this bout felt like an afterthought to many in attendance. Even as Reigns endured brutal punishment at the hands of Lesnar, the audience remained indifferent. One of the most shocking moments of the match saw Roman Reigns getting busted open after taking repeated strikes from Lesnar. Blood streamed down his face, a visual that WWE had largely moved away from in the modern PG era. In past eras, such a dramatic moment might have evoked sympathy from the crowd, leading them to rally behind the struggling hero. However, at WrestleMania 34, there was no such reaction. Instead, the fans remained cold and uninvested, further underscoring the disconnect between WWE's intended narrative and the audience's reception. As the match progressed, Lesnar continued to dominate Reigns, delivering a staggering 5 F5s. In typical wrestling storytelling, such relentless punishment would build anticipation for a heroic comeback. Yet, instead of rallying behind Reigns, the audience stayed disengaged. Even when Reigns kicked out multiple times, there was no surge of excitement, only groans and indifference. It was a rare sight in WWE history, a WrestleMania main event where the crowd simply did not care. Finally, Brock Lesnar executed a 6th F5 and pinned Reigns clean in the center of the ring. In any other major main event, this would have elicited a loud response, whether it be cheers of joy or groans of disappointment. However, the reaction was eerily subdued. There was no shock, no outrage, and certainly no sympathy for Reigns. The lack of emotional investment from the fans made the conclusion of WrestleMania 34's main event one of the most lackluster in recent memory. The aftermath of the match was just as telling as the bout itself. While WWE had seemingly set the stage for Reigns to finally capture the Universal Championship, they were forced to change direction due to overwhelming fan rejection. Instead of crowning him as a new face of WWE, the company was left scrambling to reassess its approach.
If you love your father, then subscribe the channel, and those who love me show your love by liking and subscribing.